Hey, D here. Hey, D Podcast. So this is going to be kind of long. It's about starting new, starting fresh, starting anew after an abusive relationship. Abusive meaning physical, verbal, mental. They are all abuse. And it's funny because I was in a relationship with someone who was a narcissist, and we'll call it a narc. It's the abbreviation for it. But I didn't even realize it. I didn't even realize it was abuse. I call it mental anguish is what I was going through. So I'm going to start off with, I have a bunch of stuff here that I've written down. So we'll start off with a rebirth. So that's what some people would call it. I just call it starting new, starting over, starting fresh with your life without this person who was always causing you mental anguish. So, you've already been victimized, and you've already been victimized by someone who that you supposedly love, cared, and trusted. So you already been victimized, and you are going to question yourself, and you're going to question yourself over and over again. Stop doing it. Why did I stay? How could I have fallen for this, etc.? I asked myself in the relationship the whole time, how did I end up here? How the fuck did I end up here? So, first thing you need to do is forgive yourself. Forgive yourself for what? Well, I forgave myself for all of the values I stood by. All the things that I believed and that I were taught and that were instilled in me growing up. How to be in a committed relationship, to stay and honor that relationship. And that's another reason why I didn't leave. So it caused me to sacrifice my self-peace, my sense of self. I started to feel lost. I didn't feel like myself anymore. I began to be angry and bitter, and I resented him for everything that he was. I resented him for the lies. I resented him for tricking me into this relationship, because that's how I felt. Because this was not the person that I dated. And it wasn't the person that I first married. So I resented him for being who he was. Second, grieve. And when I say that, I mean grieve who you believe the narc to be. You have to grieve it. Grieve the pain, the hurt, and the sorrow that they brought on you. Grieve them. And then you need to grieve yourself. Grieve that you were put through that. Grieve who you were when you were in that relationship with that person, because that is no longer you, and you are no longer in that mental anguish relationship anymore. So first, sit, meditate, and grieve. You might cry. Again, you will be angry, but you must grieve the past. Leave it behind you and embrace it. 3, do not lie to yourself. Do not lie to yourself, because we do that. I know that I am a very strong and independent woman, and I know who I am, and I knew who I was, and I know I have self-worth. But don't lie to yourself. Learn what you can about you and who you are. When you meditate on your past relationship of mental anguish, who are you? Who were you? Meditate on that. Are you responsible? Who are you responsible for? Are you responsible for them? Or are you responsible for you? And how did you end up here? That was my favorite line when I would get upset. How the fuck did I end up here? You ask yourself that. So don't lie to yourself. Who are you? Who are you responsible for? And how did you end up here? Even if you have to go over it 100 times, write it on a piece of paper. Put it in a journal. This is still 3. So we did the don't lie to yourself. Okay, so now 4. It's funny how you can be with someone and you are still alone. You get up and you go to work every day. You do your daily deeds. You do your due diligence when you're not at home. There were times that I would stop at a restaurant down the street from my house, and I would sit there until he left to take his second shift, because I didn't want to be in the house with him anymore. So it's funny. You can wrap yourself up in their bullshit because they are not happy with who they are, and they envy you for who you are. And you wrapped yourself up in that bullshit, and you didn't even see it coming because it was done in bits and pieces, a little bit at a time. Like in the beginning, they're this great spouse or this great guy that you're dating, and they're giving you everything you need and everything that you want, and they are everything that you need and everything that you want. And the minute they lock you in, they take a little bit away at a time. They take a little bit of love away. They take a little bit of patience away. They take a little bit of attention away. Everything that they gave to you, they take it away a little bit at a time and wrap you. First, they wrap you up in the bullshit. They wrap you up in the lie. They wrap you up in the pretending. Or as my sister would say it, they sell you a dream, and then they take a little bit away at a time. And before you know it, you are in this relationship that you didn't think that you would be in from the beginning. So decide on what you want your new life without this bullshit to be. You sit and again, write it down. What do you want your life to be without this? Well, for me, I needed peace. I needed some solitude. Even now, thinking about it, I had no peace. I had no solitude. There were some days I'd be sick to my stomach. And I would see myself gaining weight because of the stress. Because the person you're with has no empathy whatsoever. But in front of everybody else, they're a different person. Never complimented me the whole marriage. Never. But in front of people, oh, they want to hold your hand and they want to hug you and want to kiss you on the cheek. And the whole time, I mean, what do you do in front of people? Embarrass them and say, move, don't do that? No, you sit there and just let them play their game. Be the great actor that they are. So you need to decide. So for me, I needed my peace and I needed my solitude and I needed my mental back. I needed to be in my happy place. So, you didn't want to be silent anymore. And, I've always known what I wanted. And that was not it. I've always known who I was. That relationship was not what I wanted. And I ended up there. And I keep asking myself why and how. I've not done it in a year. But that first year of divorce and separation, I constantly ask myself why. How did I end up there? So now, I want to be in a relationship with someone who will allow me, because I am a free spirit, who will allow me to be me. Be it me in my skin, me different, me happy, me independent, me just as wild as I want to be. Because that is who I am. If I can't get that, if I can't get what I'm looking for, mentally, physically, emotionally, sexually, my heart, my mind, you can't have me, and I don't want you. So, meditate on everything when you are starting anew. I can only speak on what I've been through, and my relationship wasn't physically abusive, but it was mentally abusive. And a lot of people think when they are in a relationship with a narcissist, it is not abuse. It is abuse. D here. Hey D Podcast. And remember, every single day is a new start. Bye.